At 3 o'clock, local shows, proudly sponsored by Menards. Whether you're tuning in to AM 1450, 97.3 FM, or 97.7 FM, Menards is here to support great local content. And Menards is your one-stop shop for all things home improvement. Don't go anywhere. Today's 3 o'clock show is just getting started.
An insurance salesman and a car salesman walked into a bar. As a matter of fact, that's how all this began.
Hoosiers from near and far, welcome to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. I'm your host, owner, and operator of your local State Farm agency here in Vincennes, Indiana, Andrew Hinz. And folks, sitting next to me is my co-host, the youngest retiree in Knox County, DIY carpenter extraordinaire, still the thunder from down under with too many world records to count, my good friend, not so tan, John Yochum.
Just red.
Just red.
Just red. I have two colors. I have white and red. That's all I got.
How was it?
That's why I'm an IU fan.
That's true. There you go.
No, it was good. We both went to Mexico. We were just a little farther.
We both
apart.
covered up like crazy. I came back with 0 burns, 0 tan. Just the way I need it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the way we planned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, Mexico was a great time.
How was Cancun Airport?
Actually,
we haven't really
nice.
talked about this at all.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Okay.
We got there on our departure. We got there pretty early thinking that it would be busy.
Yeah.
I think flying out, we flew in on a Thursday. No, we flew in on a Friday. We left on a Friday.
Okay.
Or we left on a Thursday. I think leaving there in the midweek rather than on a Saturday worked out a lot better. Because
how many videos
security
did
and
we
everything.
see of craziness?
TikTok was crazy. It was like, don't go here. And you see just now, when we flew into Cancun and it was baggage claim area, that was packed.
Was it really?
It was.
Tulum has maybe like 5 gates. So it was,
right?
Tulum was like 3 hours south, and it was just empty.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well, that's nice.
Until they shoved us into they had one gate that was A and B.
Yeah.
And they were both departing at the same time. One to Chicago, one to Miami.
So is it the same when you walk out? Is everyone trying to say, hey,
big difference
I'm your
there.
ride, you're my ride?
No, so Tulum is actually owned by the government. It's owned by the military, supposedly.
Sure.
Cancun is supposedly a private airport. I didn't know that it's private. I don't disagree. But, so no, we weren't ambushed whatsoever.
Nice.
Not like Punta Cana, not like Jamaica.
Well, in Cancun, as soon as you walk out of baggage claim,
They're there.
you're swarmed.
Right.
And you just have to don't make eye contact.
Did you negotiate with all of them? Did you?
Yeah.
How many? Did you bring your pesos with you?
I just asked him where the bathroom was.
Yeah. Was it
Yeah,
Bon?
de donde españoles?
There's, oh my gosh, show's over. So good trip.
It was.
Kids
nice.
were happy.
Kids loved it. They liked the flying. That was their first time on a plane, so they loved that part. Yeah, it was a good time. They liked
Did you pay for your bags?
Stamped. We did not pay for our bags yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
He's big Southwest.
So we're Southwest flyers. We don't fly very often. We normally drive everywhere, but we are Southwest flyers, and now they're going to charge for bags.
Crazy.
And they're going to have assigned seats.
I know.
Are they shooting themselves in the foot?
They have no advantage.
Is this a business decision that you look back on and you're like,
it's called corporate greed,
feels
John.
like the JCPenney's deal to me.
Yeah.
We're going down.
Right. No more coupons.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how all that goes. But no, everything was good.
Good deal.
We had a good deal. So you guys had a good time too?
Yeah, man. We made it back. Only one night did I hug it out with the toilet, and it wasn't the amount that I drank. It was there was a restaurant. Obviously, Lauren didn't eat the same thing. The kids obviously didn't. You go somewhere and you start just trying everything. And the next day, my son even said something like, you really wore out that toilet, didn't you? Because, it's not like we're that far apart.
Yeah.
It was busy. We hugged it out a lot.
They call that Montezuma's revenge.
Oh, it was not sweet by any means. But
they rinse the lettuce with the wrong water.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, and then I end up going down. So yeah, no, I mean, other than that, the trip was great. Weather was phenomenal.
Weather was awesome. Yeah.
So
It's tough to wake up to 85 and sunny every day.
oh, I hate
isn't it?
that. I hate that, especially whenever we left and the storms came through here.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
We came in when we flew back in.
Yeah.
We flew out of Nashville, and when we came back in, it was 35 degrees, and Vincennes was having snow flurries.
Yeah,
What
right.
the heck is going on?
It had just snowed, so we flew through Chicago, and it had just snowed. I forget how much, like the day before. It was pitiful.
Yeah.
But no, happy to be back. But where's your next one, John?
Our next
headed?
one, and we're taking the kids to California, and we're going to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
We've been to Disney World several times, never to Disneyland. So we're going to do Disneyland. We're going to do San Diego Zoo.
Which is the number
do
one
that,
zoo,
right?
I think, in the country.
It
something
was
like
at
that,
one
right?
time. It was number
Okay.
one. Yeah, I think maybe Nebraska hasn't beat right now. I don't know.
Nebraska
but
has a
they have-
zoo?
Henry Dorney Zoo is.
Is it really?
super- Yeah, it's
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
We've been there too. But yeah, so San Diego Zoo is going to be awesome. The kids love that. But Disneyland, so never been there.
Well,
A little
good.
smaller, but probably pretty similar, I would say. Just check it off the list. Just say
With
you've
their
been there.
hands in your pocket. The whole trip.
It's always a cheap vacation.
Yeah, right. Well, anything else you got going on? We've got tons of NFL moves. You've
There
got a
is.
quarterback now.
If you want to call it that, I guess.
don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how he does.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah. we'll see.
Who else? Are you watching March Madness at all? You ever watch basketball at all, John?
Yeah, I watched some basketball. Yeah, yeah. It's been good. I was listening to the announcers in between games one time, and they said something that stuck out to me that I'm like, you know what? That's true. They said in the past few years there's been less and less upsets, and they said they say it's because of the NIL. And once you start, you're like, you know what? There has been less upsets in the past few years, and I agree with it now. So NIL is playing, in March Madness stuff as far as
when you're
schools that have the more money to give out and get the recruits that they want. Those Cinderella teams are becoming less and less because they got less players.
I mean, Drake, McNeese. I mean, you still had some Cinderella teams, but they had their first NIL deal for a team manager. What was that about?
Is he following the coach? Is that where he's going?
He is
NC
following.
State?
He is following him to NC State. That's exactly right. Did you guys see him at all? Oh my gosh, this guy got an NIL deal through security guards with a speaker,
With a
and the
boombox.
speaker even changed. Do you know what a boombox is, John?
I do.
I just want to make sure.
So last
Yeah, right.
last night. Speaking of that, last night, Casey's dad Dan turned 65.
Yeah.
And we had a surprise birthday party for him over in Lawrenceville, and as the party's going on, we're like, we could use a Bluetooth speaker or something, some music or something. Well, we couldn't find one at the event hall we were at, but they did have an AM/FM radio, and we're like, how do you use one of these? What do we do? I had to go plug it in by the window, so the antenna could.
He was trying to reach 92.1. He was off by enough.
We did listen to that. No, 92.1 was the
92.1?
station we got.
You
yeah.
weren't listening to talk radio?
No.
Son of a gun.
I know.
That's not a party
I
until
know.
you tune in
I
to
know.
us.
But yeah, 92.1 that's the one we were on. But it was like, man, using just a strict AM.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot different.
I know, right? So interesting stuff. March Madness still going strong.
Yeah.
VU going strong. VU's in the Elite Eight tonight. They play at 9
play
o'clock.
at 9 o'clock. It's awesome.
And I texted both the coaches. I was hoping that they would go ahead and throw in an NIL deal for maybe Grady or Bennett to go ahead and carry in a speaker. Sorry. Anyways,
I asked Brian. I said, can you please get away from the 9 o'clock games?
dude, 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Seriously, your bedtime's at about 8:45.
Oh man, I'm way past it.
Yeah. So but that's exciting tonight. And, what is it? What's the name of the school that they're playing tonight? Palmore? I don't know, something like that.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It starts with P. I know.
It does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You were right on there.
But so best of luck to them. They've been exciting the last couple nights. Or last few nights.
Their bench, has been really enthusiastic.
Unbelievable.
And you got LeBron. Anytime he scores anything, he's screaming, yelling,
Yeah, he
pumped
was
up. I'm like, man,
intense.
you could tell he's into it, and you can tell the teams they're wanting to win.
100%.
That's good.
No, you're exactly right. So I think I'm most excited about that over any of the March Madness.
Yeah, and it's cool. You can watch it on TV.
ESPN Plus.
So if anyone has ESPN Plus, you can watch the Blazers play tonight. They've played the past few nights. So,
but they've got to take these long breaks. Right. It's televised.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to take the media breaks.
Right. Media timeouts. It's cool for the kids, though.
What?
It's cool for the kids.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. So are we going out there if they go to the championship?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
Take a little road
so
trip.
close. It's like 9.5 hours.
To the hut.
To the middle of nothing out there in Kansas. Anything else you want to throw out? We've got like 30 seconds left. Breeze through this first section.
We did breeze through it. Well, I mean, it's not completely official yet, but I'm not the youngest retiree anymore.
Really?
I do have a
Oh,
again.
you want to throw it out there
Yeah,
real quick?
so I just
Somebody
recently,
finally hired him.
So I just recently got my real estate license. So I'm going from selling cars to selling houses. So,
Nice.
Anyone
I like
looking,
that move.
Yeah, anyone looking to sell their house, come contact me, reach out to me.
Right. I think you need to charge them for that ad.
Sorry.
All right, nice touch. Well, John,
Don't be
congrats. Guys, you are listening to 97.7 WAOV. We must take a break. It's Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Just the Tips with John and Andrew. We'll be right back with our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur.
Advertising on radio offers several advantages to make it a valuable marketing channel for businesses. Number one, a wide reach. Radio has a broad reach, reaching millions of listeners across different demographics and geographic areas. Targeted audience. Radio stations often cater to specific demographics or target markets. It's cost-effective. Radio advertising can be more cost-effective compared to other traditional media channels like television. This makes it a viable option for businesses with smaller advertising budgets. Frequency and repetition. Radio allows for frequent and repetitive exposure to your message. Immediacy and localism. Radio provides real-time information and local content, making it a popular choice for immediate promotions and local advertising. Flexibility and creativity. Radio ads offer flexibility in terms of ad duration and format. This flexibility allows for creative storytelling, engaging jingles, or even celebrity endorsements, depending on the objective and budget of the campaign. Mobile and on-the-go audiences. Radio is a mobile medium, often consumed while people are commuting, driving, or engaging in other activities. This means your message can reach a captive audience during key moments when they're receptive to hearing about products, services, and promotions. And lastly, emotional connection. Radio has the ability to create an emotional connection with listeners through voice, sound effects, and music. Well-crafted radio ads can evoke emotions and capture attention, enabling advertisers to establish a deep connection with their target audience. To learn more about advertising with TOC Direct Media, visit originalcompany.com.
Folks, welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, we are excited to introduce our next guest, a friend of both Johns and mine. We've got retired politician, retired restaurant owner, full-time negotiator, local entrepreneur, and active community member, Mr. John Friends. John, what is going on?
Hello, Andrew. Hello, John.
Welcome.
How are you?
Fantastic. It's funny you bring that up, past this, but
Right.
it's great to be pretty much retired now. And the best thing is being retired is I don't set the alarm clock, but I'm still waking up
Right.
pretty much same time. But you know you don't have to worry about getting up anymore. But,
Yes.
it's been a long time and everything, but boy, it was back. I was a restaurant manager with Sirloin Stockade,
Yep.
and I started working out through Marshville, Wisconsin, then down to Clinton, Iowa, and then up to Freeport, Illinois, down to the Quad Cities,
Wow.
Illinois, Iowa there, and then down to Henderson, Kentucky. And then I started working out. I was a restaurant manager with Sirloin Stockade, and I started working out through Marshville, Wisconsin, then down to Clinton, Iowa, and then up to Freeport, Illinois, down to the Quad Cities, Illinois, Iowa there, and then down to And the
Did you ever get to Murray's?
yeah.
Murray, we had a certain one. I think it's still there.
It's
actually.
still there.
That's right. You
And,
still have the cow out there.
it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know him and his wife personally, fantastic.
Yeah.
And the company was having some internal theft problems going on, and they started selling some units off. And he sends me the keys in the mail and said, hey, the store in Evansville's for sale. The people want to see it. Would you go show it? And I met the people's thing and everything, and had people bought the location and everything. Then I got keys for Owensboro, Kentucky location, went over there, sold that and everything. And I'm just sitting there, and the gentleman from the corporate headquarters gives me a call, and he says, hey, we got another location opening up in Bloomington, Illinois. I want to know if you want to go up there. And I said, why don't you sell me one?
I've seen too many keys.
And why don't you sell me one? He says, oh, you really want one or whatever? And he says, well, how much money do you have? And I said, well, I work for you. You know how much I have, not very much. And I said, but we could work a deal out where I'll take over a store you want to get rid of. We could rent it and rent the equipment type whole thing, work the whole thing out. And I said, you've sent me 5 different locations, and I've already taken those, turned them around company stores. We can do it. So I called up Greg Schmitnick. He was also a Sirloin Stockade manager. And at the time, he was out in Phoenix. And I called up Greg, and I says, let's go together. And we did it back in the end of 1980.
Yeah.
And Greg packed his little yellow Mustang 2x2 or whatever that was, a yellow wagon behind with everything he owned in it, headed back, and we bought location Madison, Indiana. And then bought Vincennes, Indiana, August 1st of 1981. And Greg and I moved here then, and we're still here, and it's the best town I've ever lived in.
Yeah.
And you know, Vincennes was so interesting. It was so easy to meet people, and it's just like you two. You go anywhere, so you go to JC shopping, and 9 out of 10 people know your name.
Yeah.
And know you.
Yeah.
And live in a big city, and nobody knows you.
Yeah.
Just a number.
And you know people, and you get in trouble.
Right.
They call you.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's the greatest thing about it was just going for it. And at that age, in our young 20s, it didn't matter.
Right.
We didn't have, family. We didn't have kids. It was take the risk, go for it.
Yeah.
And we succeeded. You know.
How many restaurants did you guys have at one time?
We had bought one up in Charleston, Illinois, Danville, Illinois.
Yep.
Then in Champaign-Urbana.
Okay.
And stuff. And then at one time we had the King's Restaurant here in Vincennes. We had bought that up and stuff, and just different things over time.
Yeah.
Where was that located? King's Restaurant?
It's on the corner of the Vincennes Plaza. It's nothing there right now. It's the sporting goods store, JCPenney.
Oh, gotcha. Sure.
Okay, on that corner right there is where that King's
Didn't
Food
know that
Host
at all.
used to
Was
sit
that where
there.
Broadway Video was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff, but it's just,
How does one go from restaurants to politics?
I've
Or is it all in the same?
I've always, that was one of my class emphasis in college was political science. I always loved planning, city planning, politics,
Sure.
like that. And
So did you just see a need, or did somebody come knocking?
I always kept an eye out for it, and then
Did you
the
really?
seat was opening, and it was back in 1996.
Okay.
And went busy and contacted the political leaders in Knox County and Gibson County and Pike County.
Were you careful who you included in your text groups? I'm just kidding. I'm messing. I'm sorry. Just a hot topic right now. So whenever you are including individuals in a text group.
Oh.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, but
Wrong button
You
to
never
push.
know.
but when
No,
but when I enter names in the list, I spell out their name. I don't just put the initials. He was listed, and their thing is TS, the initials TS.
Really?
And they mistook his
Yes.
name for somebody of high authority, and they hit the
okay.
wrong button. That's how that happened.
Boy, the wrong button can definitely do a number on your old career.
A lot of
So
people
on
on the
those
hot seat.
contacts,
Yes.
spell it out. Don't just put their first name or their initials.
So I always try to, and I apologize, I'm very good at a hard left and a hard right, but I always try to do a business tip in the very first segment, and the one I was going with to kind of lead us into that a little bit was attention to detail in business, that, you just pay attention to the things that are most important.
Right.
That's a big difference.
But I absolutely loved it when I got involved and went to work. We did the doorbell ringing, and
Did you really?
when I'm ringing on the doorbells in Hazleton, and a gentleman come to the door and says, "Who?" And like that, and he says, "I've lived here all my life, and never has a politician come knocking on my door to
Really?
say hi, introduce themselves, everything."
Yeah.
We worked every city, and we had portions of 5 counties.
Wow.
And you got to know the people, and it was the biggest thing was people first time exposure to an elected official.
Sure.
They're just ignored.
It's interesting.
And even back in 96,
96, yeah.
that's still prominent now because we've all been used to our phones and texting and everything back and forth, but that interaction people to people is still a very important thing.
Yeah, and they have their point of view that nobody ever wants to listen to, and you listen, and no
Yeah.
problem.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
make notes on it. The person, the address, what they addressed on. When you got back to the office, you went and wrote out a little card and mailed it to them. They got that in the mail the next day.
Another feel
And-
good.
Yeah.
And
They know you
another
listen
vote
to 'em.
sealed up, you know.
Interesting.
But that was the thing, is the contact. And that's sort of like, I'm afraid that a lot of these congressmen are having problems right now because they can't do any of the town hall meetings because the protesters are showing up, and
Yeah.
they can't
No.
do much discussion.
Yeah.
How did you end up, so when I got here, it wasn't Sirloin Stockade.
It's Montana Mike's.
How did you end up making the transition there?
The at that time, the buffet type restaurants were dying very rapidly. There's very few of the buffet type, and the COVID put the end to just about all of them. They're starting to make a recovery now.
Ryan,
But-
I remember Ryan's growing up
Right.
too. Like,
Yeah.
Ryan's,
so did they go bankrupt? Or I
and
haven't
Golden
seen them.
Corral,
Golden Corral, yeah.
and buffets,
Shoney's.
and
Yes.
there's a bunch of the chains that did those buffets, and they were dying.
Yeah.
And so we had to switch to another concept, and that was where it would be the full service,
Sure.
mid-range price thing with adding with the bar,
Yeah.
and we switched to that in 2000.
So we actually take pride in being a business show, amazingly enough. But that's one of the things that in one of the classes I teach that we talk about is recognizing obviously the need like that and making a move. So if you don't mind, we'll go to our next segment here. We got to take a quick break, but if we can pick back up with it, that'd be great. Folks, you're listening to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Just the Tips with John and Andrew. We'll be right back with our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur.
From the WAOV News Center, I'm Tom Lee reporting. Alternating lane closures start today on US 41 in Knox County on the Vincennes bypass. The closures impacting north and southbound lanes of US 41 over Kelso Creek. Lane restrictions will allow for a bridge deck overlay project to be completed. Work continues through June, depending on weather. A Tell City man has been returned to the Knox County Jail to face drug dealing and theft charges. 36-year-old Lee Johnson was arrested in Sullivan County yesterday on a petition to revoke bond on a pending 2021 case for dealing in narcotics. He also faces a new charge of theft. He's being held without bond in the Knox County Jail. A recent step forward for the Beer House Flats complex is considered a good step forward for helping Vincennes with a housing shortage. Right now, the groundbreaking date has not been set, but the facility had received a tax abatement to help with its development costs. The idea is to continue to get people who work in Vincennes to find housing in the city as well to reduce commuting from other communities. We've got more at WAOVAM.com. I'm Tom Lee, WAOV News.
Grain and oilseed markets remain range-bound with low volume trade again today. This is Hoosier Ag Today's Wednesday closing farm market report. Positioning continued today prior to the Monday end of month and quarter and those stocks and acreage reports from USDA. A little bit oversold in corn and beans, but not enough to complete a higher move. May corn ends down 6.5 cents, 4.51 1/4. July 4.59 down 6 1/4. D's 4.5 lower, 4.44 1/2. May beans 3/4 down after spending most of the day higher, 10.01. July 10.15 losing 1/2 cent, and November up 1/4 at 10.06 3/4. May wheat 5.35 1/4 down 8. June live cattle 203.02 up 70. June lean hogs 96.55 up 30. I'm Andy Eubank, Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
Opening day tomorrow for the Cardinals. I'm Tom Lee with the WAOV Radio Sports Beat. The St. Louis Cardinals are gearing up for opening day tomorrow. The Cards will host the Minnesota Twins at Busch Stadium tomorrow. St. Louis finalized its 26-man roster with bubble candidates Victor Scott II and Matthew Liberatore both making the final cut. Sonny Gray will start for the Cards tomorrow. First pitch 4:15 Eastern. You can hear all of the St. Louis Cardinals season action all season long right here on the home of the Cardinals, WAOV. The NCAA men's basketball tournament continues tomorrow. Purdue will take on Houston in the Sweet 16 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The other half of that bracket, by the way, will have neighborhood rivals Tennessee and Kentucky playing each other. I'm Tom Lee, WAOV Sports. Here's another community announcement for you from WAOV. The Ostomy Support Group of Southern Indiana will have monthly meetings on the first Sunday of every month at 2 o'clock. That will be at Davies Community Hospital. The Ostomy Support Group of Southern Indiana open individuals with an ostomy and those preparing for an ostomy surgery. The group fosters a friendly, understanding, and informative atmosphere to help attendees gain confidence in managing their condition.
News happens all the time during the day, at night, and through the overnight. So for the latest in local news, weather and sports, as well as obituary information, listen to 97.3, 97.7, and AM 1450 WAOV, and always at WAOVAM.com.
Don't miss bingo every Thursday evening at the Knights of Columbus in Vincennes. Doors open at 6. Games begin at 7. The hot ball starts at $300. Open to the public. The Knights of Columbus, located at 701 Folk King Road in Vincennes. Bingo license on file.
The WAOV forecast now from the Brian Stevens Erie Insurance Weather Center. Gradual clearing skies with sunny conditions, a high near 61 today. Isolated rain tonight. Look for a low temperature near 42 and a high of 64 with rain moving in on Thursday. Friday could see a high of 76. Join us right here for Just the Tips with John and Andrew, Wednesdays at 3, WAOV.
Folks, welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, again, we are here with our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur here in Vincennes, Indiana. And we were talking about just transitioning and understanding, hey, it's time to maybe get away from the buffet and get over to more of a full service.
Yeah.
And you guys made that call, and it kind of worked out for you.
It worked out. Everything went good with it.
Yeah,
And it just got, when the government shut us down during COVID time and, as things start getting tight, and it was tough then, and we had the opportunity to sell, and we sold and
Did you
retired.
sell the building as well?
Excuse me?
Did you sell the building as well?
Yes.
You did. So
Yeah.
you're not into Italian.
No, that was, at first when they were discussing it was going to be a lease and all the other stuff, and we'd hold on and do a lease to buy thing and
Sure.
stuff, and then they came and said, no, we want to buy it, and we
It's sold.
gave it a good price, and
Yes.
we're completely out of it, and it was a relief. But
I bet.
we just, and then, it was retired and everything, and my wife Sarah she says that I hear that house downtown on First Street there is for sale. Which one? She says, the one that used to be the old Vucare bar there, the old place, and it's Tom Bartholomew's photo shop and stuff, and Tom wants to retire, and it's for sale. Let's go look for it, and we ended up buying it. It's right there, 26 North First Street, right next to Tony Burkhart's business.
Right.
And
Understood.
he's a good neighbor.
Yes, he's a good neighbor. Please tell that joke to Tony, that he's a good neighbor. But it's a good location. You got good coverages there.
But it's an old building, and it's one of the first brick buildings built in Vincennes. It was built in 1837.
Wow.
1837. Just to give you a sort of a thinking on that, the building that the Harmony's in, the Ellis thing, that was built 1838. The Grouseland, that was built 1804, one of the first brick buildings in the whole state.
Wow.
And stuff. But it's been there a long time. It was a good, strong building, and steamboats used to come up the Wabash, and they unloaded there and sold the dry goods there to Vincennes out of the place. And then it had been many things over the 180 some years it's been there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we bought it and then reworked it top to bottom, made it our home.
So I was going to ask you that. I know we had more of a show here downtown of going around and different places that have been redone. What all did you guys do to it?
We went and we added on to the side, we added a garage on, two-car garage, and we put a patio on top of that overlooks the Wabash, everything.
Man.
Inside, we kept the first floor as close as we could. Had to do a little support walls and stuff like that. But upstairs, we totally redid that, and it's just 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms, a big great room with dining and kitchen and
Where's the art studio?
Excuse me?
Where's the art studio?
Well, on the first floor.
Yeah, gotcha.
Half the first floor, the front half is Sarah's art studio.
There you go,
And it's
gotcha.
not a business. It's still her art studio.
Yep.
And in the back is my man's cave area.
Got there. That
And,
works.
Yeah. And it's really nice. And what's so neat about it, it's just you're right downtown.
Yeah.
And you can walk any place.
You're in the thick of
It's a
everything.
great
yeah.
spot.
We put in an elevator into it so that we did everything handicap accessible, all the doors, elevator system, ramp on the outside, everything we could. So we get older.
What are you predicting, John? So you can just roll on in there.
I don't know if it's prediction rather than just plain
Preparation. Yeah, planning, yeah.
But
cool.
It's a beautiful location there, and then out the back you can go see the George Rogers Clark Memorial, the Wabash River, the Lincoln Bridge there, and then the walkway, and
The best seat in the house for the fireworks, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And
Between you and Burkhardt, you've got a heck of a view there. You really do.
Yeah, and I wired up when we put the power in with the plenty of power and dedicated circuits that if we want to put a band up there on the patio playing out onto the grassway and
Well, that was the
everything.
deal with having you on the show. We just need the invite. That's all. We'll even take the ground level seat. We'll hang out down below. That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Anything else you plan to change, or you've already got it set up the way you want it?
It's pretty well done. She's added a few things on the to-do list. A certain, She wants certain water outlet on the outside at a certain location, so it's easy for her to water the plants and stuff like that. But she, you know.
What else you got on the horizon? You're involved with several organizations. The
Well,
Tourism
pretty
Bureau,
active with
Red Skelton.
I'm president this year at the Harmony Society.
Yep.
And
Your picture hasn't taken too many darts. I saw you up there. I honestly didn't know that.
and it's one of the most interesting organizations. It started back in 1888.
Wow.
1888. It was the German settlers settling, Vincennes area, and they wanted to be able to preserve the German language, and they started the Harmony Society.
I didn't either.
They, you went in the door, men only, except when they had, dances and dinners. And they had to wear suit and tie, and only the German language was allowed to be spoken once they set foot in the door.
Oh my God.
And it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then came World War I, and that German thing just
Didn't sit as well as it was.
just didn't go. And they changed the name from it was like the German spelling of Harmony Society. It was Harmony Verein. And they changed that to Harmony Society in 1918 during
Didn't know
World
that.
War
Yeah.
I,
Wow.
and changed the rules about that. And you didn't have to be full-blooded German to join anymore, and started opening up. But it's been there a long time, and it's a fun little
It's a cool club.
organization.
It really is.
And it's
You've got a
great-
rough group running your raffles, though. I mean, they seem to bend your arm and twist your arm and break your knees, whatever you want to call it. But no, I mean, you got a lot going on. It's been a great place, and it's been in demand like crazy because the membership. You still have a waiting
They have
list.
that's had for years and years a 1,000 membership maximum, and the waiting list is around 60 people now. So that'll probably be by the end of this
You have a
year.
waiting list, right? I mean,
Oh, sure.
you got-
A demand.
Yeah, you got demand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's
I can give you a member to kick out, but we can talk later.
well, John sold me a car one night there at the Harmony Society.
I feel like I got the same deal.
You remember that night?
Jeep Wrangler.
So his dues
I've learned his ways.
dues were well worth it.
That's right. Yes.
What else are you getting involved in? What's going on? You got the Red Skelton. You've got the
Red
museum.
Skelton.
There's a big event coming up at the beginning of April, right?
Yeah, we've got the Derby celebration. We do historic horse races you can bet on. It's all for fun and
Sure.
and stuff like that. We've done it in the past, and everybody loves it. It's just it's fun.
And there's
it's a
a
fundraiser.
Pretty big wing being added on over there at the Red
Right,
Skelton
we're
right
adding
now.
the Red Skelton art showroom there.
Yeah.
And that's being paid primarily from his wife. And
That's huge.
it's just beautiful, and she just wants to make sure there's some place to put all of her husband's paintings up and everything, and it's going right on up.
Oh gosh, yes. Saw a live video. Actually, there's a
It's
live
supposed-
feed out there of it.
Grand opening's planned for November, so that's going good. And
It's a real cool place to visit.
Oh, yeah.
in
yeah,
Vincennes.
it's just been
neat.
going great.
What about the Tourism Bureau?
What about?
Yeah, I mean the Tourism Bureau. That's
Well,
a happening little place. I mean, I don't know we don't have the eclipse this year.
Yeah.
But
I'm been on the board there for 20 some years, but it's collects funds from when people stay just at hotels in Knox County.
sure.
That's that added on tourism tax. And then that's taken and helps out local organizations put on events that attract visitors.
Sure.
A big, huge supply of income to the Indiana Military Museum to keep going. They bring so many people to town, to the Red Skelton, to the Grouseland,
Sure.
things like that. And
Sure.
other people throwing events on. We've got the World Series of
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
baseball, kids baseball
summer. That's right.
going. We promote that. It's
You know,
just all these things.
It's
that
sad
bring
that we don't
people
have
to
any
town.
more hotels to be able to house them, because they're having to go to, other cities because we don't have enough rooms. But they've
Right.
got twice as many teams this round from outside the country.
Right.
We've got multiple teams from Mexico. The only one I didn't see on there, I think, was Canada, if I'm not mistaken. No, but otherwise, they've got them from all over the place.
Japan.
Oh yeah. So how cool is that? But they're all coming to little old Vincent.
Yeah.
Love it, and obviously
And
staying. And
It's just great. A town our size,
Yeah.
it's hard for anybody to compete with us, what we offer. And we're lucky to have Vincennes University. We're very lucky to have Good Samaritan Hospital.
Yes.
Small towns are losing their schools and they're losing their hospitals.
That's right.
We have reason, and the people in town just all work together, and it's a great town to live in.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've got to take one more break. Folks, you are listening to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Don't forget, like us and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Just the Tips with John and Andrew. We'll be right back to wrap things up with our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur here in Vincennes, Indiana. And John,
I got the
This time-
quick fire round.
yeah, we got some secret questions for you. Folks, we'll be right back.
I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer Dwight Freeney, here to talk to you about something that truly matters, organ donation. Recently, I had the honor of meeting some incredible kids who are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant here in Indiana. These kids are fighters. They're full of dreams and hope, and their lives depend on people just like you to say yes to organ donation. Right now, thousands of people are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. You have the power to help. By saying yes to organ donation, you can give someone a second chance at life.
I get to play football, I get to play basketball, I get to ride a bike, I get to do all this amazing stuff that makes me happy.
It takes less than a minute, but the difference you can make lasts a lifetime. Visit donatelifeindiana.org or say yes to organ donation next time you're at the BMV.
WAOV is your home for great programming. 5 to 10 every weekday morning. It's the Bob and Tom Show. Then go from morning laughs to the morning chat from 10 to 11:30. Follow that up with a complete recap of news and more with Midday Edition from 11:30 to 12:06. Then it's Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins all the way to 3 o'clock. Our local shows take to the stage after that. Mark and Mark on Mondays at 3. Then Tuesdays, it's Crosstalk with Pastor Mike Flynn. Just the Tips on Wednesdays. Thursdays, it's Legal News and Views, and the Peppers podcast on Fridays. Sean Hannity comes your way from 4 until 7. Dave Ramsey from 7 until 10. Then have your voice heard when the sun goes down. It's America at Night, late nights, and then it's the Paranormal with George Norrie and Coast to Coast AM. All reasons weekdays are better with WAOV.
Folks, welcome back to Just the Tips with John and Andrew. Guys, we are here to wrap things up with our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur here in Vincennes, Indiana. I'll turn it over to my horrible co-host.
Oh.
Man, I mean, brutal chair moment. I keep on
Well.
going to the floor here, John.
I could say a few things.
Yeah, right. Good point. Go ahead.
All right, so I got the quick fire round for John here. It's 10 easy questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, this is to let our 100,000 listeners get to know you a little bit better. Are you an iPhone or an Android user?
Android.
Oh, no. Now we're done. Never mind. No.
His texts are green, John.
His texts are green. Oh, no.
Can't edit the text. That's the thing I've gotten so used to.
Right.
It's like whenever you voice text on an iPhone, and then you've screwed it up, right?
Right.
and then you get to go back and
You get
edit
to
it.
go back.
But you get somebody with an Android, and you're like, son of a gun.
Yeah. We always give Android users a hard time. So, next question: would you rather call or text somebody?
Text.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I would expect a call. I was
It's
off on
quick.
that. Yeah.
And then their response quick.
Yep.
And you get the call done in 15 seconds instead of 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Okay, I wouldn't be a car guy if I wouldn't ask you what your first car was.
73 Oldsmobile.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat little car. V8 in that baby, and it had a thing sitting on the dash that was a high beam sensor.
Yeah.
And would automatically turn your high beams off and on.
Really?
Really?
And
One of the
you-
originals.
And it was up there. You adjusted it, the sensitivity.
Yeah.
And then so you go out on the highway, get that baby, so it wouldn't turn your high beams off
At
until they flashed you.
Oh,
and it would
gotcha.
go off instantly, and then they turned theirs off, and mine would go back on.
I've never heard
That's
of one.
cool. They
Yeah.
had, back then,
Yeah.
when, I had a 71 Roadrunner, and the brights were on the floor.
Really?
Underneath where the emergency brake was, there was a little, like, button that you just pressed with your foot, and it turned your brights on.
They were just the vehicle.
Yeah, but that's cool.
That's
yeah.
great, yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, Harold and Maude.
Okay.
It's a film long time ago.
Yeah.
All the music's Cat Stevens soundtrack, and it's between a young boy who has suicide tendencies and an elderly woman that wants to be put to sleep when she turns 80. And it's a very,
Wow.
very interesting movie.
Yeah.
It brings a lot of things to mind.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
I'd look that one up.
Yeah.
Okay, we know you're a traveler. When you're going on a vacation, where do you prefer to go? Are you going to the beach? Are you going to the mountains?
Sarah and I love historic sites, art galleries. We go a lot.
Yeah.
Normally by car, and there's when you drive down the highway and you see those signs that advertising this little town, and they got some kind of museum or something special. We like getting off there and actually going to those little
Yeah.
tiny little
How
things.
often have you been to Mount Vernon, Illinois Museum, the Mitchell Museum?
Just one time.
Really?
Yeah.
My parents are heavily involved with that museum, so
Yeah,
that's and
that was a while
huge
back,
craft
but
fairs.
It's real close.
It's a
and-
beautiful museum in a town not much bigger than Vincennes.
And
But
Mount Vernon, of
Yeah.
course, was settled by the oil well people, and
Well, of course.
beautiful homes and brick roads.
Brem
and
oil.
stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly
nice.
right. Interesting.
Andrew does that too when he drives and he pulls off, but it's normally for bourbon tasting.
I was wondering where this was going. I was like, oh boy, John, thanks.
Yeah,
The
but
law's listening. What are we pulling off the road for?
You have a designated driver, don't you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always.
Very good point.
Always. All right, are you an early riser or a late nighter?
Late nighter.
Late nighter.
really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stay up till I get tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do that too, but it's normally around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
He's
Funny
tired
part
around
is he's serious. No.
6:30.
Oh, I know. Dinner was great. See y'all in the morning.
In the wintertime when it gets dark at 6.
Hey, it does mess you up, though. It does. Don't lie.
Okay, if you could have any superpower, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. I guess to see the future. I mean, right now we all live and want to know the future and
Yeah.
try to make our decisions based on what we think's going to happen.
Right.
It'd be neat if you could, but thank God we can.
It's definitely a double-sided sword there, right? You know, you
Yeah.
want to know, but do you really want to know?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Next week's going to be a doozy. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
So, okay, you've been in Vincennes for a long time. You're going to go get pizza. Where are you getting it from, and what toppings are you going to get on it?
My favorite pizzas now is the Procopio's
Yeah.
on the
You're pretty close to it, too.
yeah. No, it's really good now. The first pizza when he opened up there was average, and he's gotten it down
toned
now,
in
and
now.
it's good pizza.
He's got such a sweet sauce. That's what I like about it. Yeah.
And I always just order a small, and then I eat half of it, and the other half I get a box, and then it's sits in the fridge for the next time I need a quick meal.
There you go.
Oh, I get it.
All right, last question. We are a business show. What is one piece of advice that you would give to our listeners about business?
Listen to your customers. That's one thing. You go in someplace and you're talking, and they don't want to listen to you. They don't even want to talk to you. They just, what can I get you? Listen to your customers. There's a lot of things a customer coming in they can't find, and you want to know what they couldn't find, and maybe we need to stock this but listen to your customer. They're the best critics there are, the people that actually ate at your place or shopped at your place.
I always thought that was great too, because whenever people went into you guys' restaurant, you or Greg were always walking around talking, talking to tables and everything, and Procopio does the same thing. You always see him there, and that's always good to see the owner participating and doing stuff that everyone else does.
And his son is something else. He's a Procopio Jr. He's just like Dad. He's great.
Yeah.
We brought that up in class the other day up at VU, and I use that as an example, as you guys in Procopio, and you would always go around and talk to everybody, no matter what was going through your mind. I mean, that's not the question that's being asked, but you got the feeling, no matter what you ate, is that you cared. And that just goes a long way right there. My other example is dentists. I swear, dentists always seem to walk in, no matter how long ago you saw Eric or whoever else. They are like, "Well, how was vacation?" I'm like, "You son of a gun! I didn't talk to you about that." But they seem to take good notes and keep that same relationship going. So that just goes far. It's interesting.
Yeah, I heard that's what insurance agents always do. They keep a little file on each person, names of their boys and girls, and where they're going. And
there's a great system now that does.
You got index card. Flips it around.
They don't have index cards anymore.
I did throw one away when we moved. The Rolodex.
I
had a Rolodex.
I can remember going in when I was little with the salesman, and they all had those Rolodex. And I always got written down.
Mine never stayed in place. I always was losing cards, and it was a
You go to the library, you have to get a card.
Oh, God, I remember that. Index cards.
Yeah. True story.
The good old days, right? Well, that concludes my quickfire round. I was going to mention, too, that we didn't talk about, we got a minute or two. You also did the watermelon drop for Vincent's for a little while, right?
Oh my gosh, that was back.
You kind of started that.
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve night, and we all said, "What are you doing tonight?" Whatever, and someone said, "Well, we'll just go over to your house, whatever." And we all met over there, and we were watching it, and they were showing the different scenes of dropping the crystal ball and dropping the giant orange and the giant peach and everything, and we just sit there and go, why don't we do a watermelon and stuff? And we organized the next morning and went to it and did it. And it's just, you got a group of guys, you just know who to contact and get things done. And it was cool. A blast.
We even had Gallagher come in, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a
story in itself. Right?
Yeah. We couldn't get him to leave Vincennes. But we did that 11 years.
Wow.
And then that same thing, that COVID thing, when everything started getting hampered. And there's been some young people in town that have gotten hold, and they want to see if they can get it started back.
That's great.
That is great.
It was a cool event. Very cool event.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work, but it's fun.
Yeah. Everything is. Do you have anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, folks, remember our goal on the show is to bring business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, yes, to our 100,000 listeners with their tips and learning moments from business. You'll hear about community happenings and events that you may be interested in or will at least hopefully entertain you. We want to thank our guest, John Friends, local entrepreneur and community member, for joining us today, and all of you who tuned in for the show. Please don't forget, put us on your calendar every week at on Wednesday at 3 p.m. or catch us live on Facebook. Until next time, from Just the Tips,
I'm John Yochum.
and I'm Andrew Hinz. Folks, have a wonderful
7.3 FM WAOV Washington.
Fox News, I'm Tom.